Very good morning, everyone. Charles here, Frgnt Daily Chart Analysis. I am finally back at home with my screens, which feels like home. Where are we? Tuesday the 21st of July 2026, just approaching 7:30 local time here. Yesterday, a position taken just before I began my travels back home. A lovely Asia range trade, to be quite honest. As simple as that, coming from a session high. So we'll start with the higher time frame analysis, and you can see why the position would not have made sense based on the higher time frame analysis. But my Asia range positions take only into consideration the 15-minute time frame only. They take into consideration 15-minute breaks of structure, then the Asia range entry criteria, and then followed by the execution. So in terms of my thought process for taking this short, it certainly was not based on any of the higher time frame analysis. If we have a look at the, let's say, top right hand chart, that's a weekly time frame, not really anticipating weakness to come out of the chart. In my opinion, I'm expecting price really, if you look to the top right hand chart, I'm looking for price to want to gravitate up towards these highs before that weekly order block rejection down back to the lows potentially. With that said, the daily time frame, we did make a low in the market, potential lower high for a low continuation, or of late what you can see is the pound was increasing in strength, and after a high what we can anticipate is potential higher low for a higher high continuation. So that certainly goes against my short position. And then on the 4-hour time frame, we just have that solidified 4-hour time frame. We're looking at a lovely bullish uptrend, higher highs and lows, higher highs and lows, rejecting the 4-hour 50 EMA, rejecting the daily 50 EMA towards the upside. And of course, you can see by the weekly 50 EMA as well. We tapped into that weekly 50 EMA last week, rejected it to the upside, what you can see just here. And then essentially on the 4-hour time frame, I'm expecting a pullback for continuation higher high, or at least up towards that 4-hour order block before potential rollover to the downside. So with that said, I had absolutely no right to take a short with that higher time frame analysis that we've just spoken about very briefly. If I was going to take a short position, it would be from a higher time frame points of interest, which would be a higher time frame directional trade in my strategy. So nevertheless, we took a short position when all the higher time frame analysis was suggesting longs. Why did I do so? Well, if you have a look at the 15-minute time frame, what we've already spoken about, we are in that potential daily leg extension for that. After the high, we're creating the higher low for the higher high continuation. That makes good sense. Based on the lower time frames, we've had that pullback on the 4-hour time frame. We're still yet to really take off. And then on the 15-minute time frame, what can we see? We can see a low, lower high, lower low, lower high, not a lower low just yet, lower high. But at this stage, what are we respecting? A potential session high, still yet to be proven in my opinion. 4 taps into a session high, or 3 to 4, will give me that confidence, so long as we're stepping away from that session high. And what we have here, the confirmation for me personally, we've had that low now created in the market, meaning that if price then gravitates back up towards that high, I'd be looking for just a reaction from it. Now, with that said, there wasn't a 15-minute order block. It's very rare to find a 15-minute order block when you're trading out of a session high. So nevertheless, it was my opportunity then to have a little bit of discretion regarding the Asia range position. What you can see is my target was still very much so the Asia range lows. But what I did want to see was price break some structure points before looking to take that position. So essentially, I liked the session high. I liked the fact that Asia was available. I liked the fact that price was a distance away from Asia. And I liked the fact we had an opportunity to break structures, pull back, and still give us that range down for pretty much the standard, I'd say. If you're using your stop loss correctly, covering what needs to be covered in terms of an Asia range, you're usually banking on around 3% return. I'm very consistent with that, and more often than not, you will find in my Asia range positions, I will take a miss on them if I don't get a good enough range, at least looking towards 2.5% to 3% return. I feel that it is quite a risky strategy if you don't apply it correctly. Therefore, the risk reward needs to make sense. If you're going to look to take a position against higher time frame directional bias using an aggressive entry criteria and model, then you really do want to be capitalizing on the reward when it is available. So that's exactly what was done. So as you can see, the best structure point in the market, of course, was what would have caused the most recent high. So on the way back up to this area just here, of course, we're then creating higher highs and lows, higher highs and lows, and higher highs. So the best area in the market to be broken before then looking for a pullback, of course, would have been that 15-minute higher low before that higher high was created, and that higher low is now confirmed as a result of that higher high. So what you will see, or what you won't see, is that break of structure did not occur. By the time it did occur, price already flew. Hence why I applied my Asia range strategy to this and was very conservative with my risk to reward ratio. So not to be fixated on the potential rewards that were available that would go against my strategy. Just go for what is very clear and obvious in terms of the type of entry and strategy and complete setup model, to be honest, of which I was taking. If this was a higher time directional play, then of course I would have stretched my take profit probably down towards these lows. What I'd be expecting the inverse to then be stepping into the market, and we're already seeing that reaction now based on having a peak at that 4-hour time frame. 4-hour 50 MA stepped into the market, price looked to reject it towards the upside. So to be honest, the 4-hour 50 MA would have been my guiding light for a half decent take profit. Nevertheless, I don't feel like I missed out on 1.5%. I just feel like it was a very good trade. So what we can see is as price came up, it was my discretion to obviously take that in line with an Asia range. An Asia range criteria is certainly different in regards to my higher time frame directional entry criteria. So the fact that I didn't have a full break of structure on the 15-minute time frame, of course, I've lost a confluence in order to take that position. But when you are confident, you're able to stack the confluences still in your favor and be happy to take a position, of which I was yesterday. So what you can see behind all of the melee is a 1-minute break of structure underneath all of this. So I certainly did have a 1-minute break of structure. I had a 15-minute order block as well to begin my analysis from, or begin manipulating that area to take a short, which is already above and beyond what I would really want to be taking or needing to have to short from a session high or long from a session low. So I'm already stepping into adding confluences to a position that didn't actually need it, to be quite honest, but I had it nevertheless. So the 50-minute order block refined that area down, as you can see by this yellow GAN box. Beyond it, refined is a 1-minute order block. So I had a 1-minute break of structure. Therefore, I'm using a 1-minute order block left behind. Price wicked in. Well, as soon as I had that 1-minute break of structure, I set my sell limit. A nice 10-pip stop loss just above the session highs. And then, as you can see, price rolled beautifully down towards filling Asia lows, and I was out of that position. I must say, although in hindsight, I did just say I wasn't really fussed about the 1.5% left on the table. But when I did check my MT5 and my MT4, I was slightly, I wouldn't say disappointed, but I saw price had come down here, and I thought, I wonder if I'd set a take profit. And who am I to doubt myself? So unfortunately, the take profit was set, and we banked just over 3% on that position. So that's just a quick breakdown, probably more for myself than for you, just to keep myself accountable with the positions I am taking, and then giving myself a nice link into my journal. Copy this link into the journal, and anytime I need to refer back to why I took a certain position, as opposed to writing lines and lines and lines of information regarding why I took the position, I think having a nice digital journal is probably the way forward since the technology is there. Why would I waste my fingertips typing away at all the confluences that I use to take a position, and why? It's all there. So that's the breakdown, team. I hope you're all doing well. Have a very good trading day. I am very much so back at home for the foreseeable now, so it feels like holiday season is coming to a little bit of an end. It's time to get back to work, back to the charts, and handle some business. So thank you very much for your attention, your patience while I have been away, and of course your support in the channels. Do take care. All the very best, Charles.